G'day guys, it's Mark here from North Oz, and in today's video I'm going to be giving you a 7-month review of my 60 litre upright King's fridge. So this is not sponsored in any way, I purchased this with my own money. If you want to see the initial review of this, you can go and check it out where I talk all about that, do the unboxing and set it all up as well. But this is just going to be me just telling you my thoughts, my opinions on this fridge. They actually don't make this fridge anymore. This is the 60 litre model with no freezer compartment. Maybe it just didn't sell very well, I don't know. But it will also, if you're interested in buying another King's fridge or freezer or any of the other models like the 85 litre and I think the 110 litre, you can go ahead and check that out as well. And this will, obviously, you know, my opinions on this will extend to those models as well because they all look identical. And I'm sure that they have very similar concerns and issues and, you know, features as well. Except for the little freezer that's in the top, I can't comment on that. But apart from that, this video should be pretty relevant to you guys. So like I said in the original video, the reason why I went with the 60 litre and not with the bigger one is because I have two massive drawers in here. In the back of my canopy, I have two 1500mm drawers that are also quite high as well. The only way I can get another fridge in here, I really want an upright fridge, and the only way I could get one in here is by buying one that would fit kind of perfectly, and the 60 litre one just fit perfectly. So that's why I got the 60 litre. In the initial review that I did, I was a bit concerned about some of the plastic around, and you know, I've just come, those people that follow the channel, you know that I went down to Fraser Island, went down to Sydney, Barrington Tops, New South Wales, Central, Queensland, all the way back up, and I have just one more episode to edit and finish off that series. So I'm really looking forward to sharing that one with you guys because it was an interesting one again. So make sure you subscribe and follow along for, you know, how I actually use this stuff kind of day to day. If you want to see that, you know, in kind of its element and how I use it kind of camping, that's kind of, you know, how it goes is that, you know, I'm using this stuff in all my videos anyway, but this is just a little bit of a summary of my experience with this product. But it has copped a little bit of scratches and that on the outside of here, you know, lots of plastics. It's just what's going to happen. I was actually surprised that around the outside here has not chipped or broken off. Like I said, this fits perfectly in here, which is why I wanted to get this model in particular. And it was also just available, you know, around Cairns. So I was very lucky to be able to get this, put it in there and ready to go for my trip. The reason why I wanted to get an upright fridge was for a lot of the reasons why other people do as well, and it's just ease of access. You know, Landcruisers, they sit up quite high. I'm very lucky with this tray and canopy that, you know, it sits very low. A lot of other trays and canopies will sit up quite high, so this would even be higher again. But the upright fridge just makes it so much easier to get food in and out of really quickly, and food and drinks. So I also do have another fridge and freezer that I run on longer trips, like I did, you know, in my in the videos that in the series that I've just finished filming. That normally goes here, but I just take it out because it's just extra weight that I don't need to have in here. And that's where I normally store all my freezer stuff. So I have a big freezer section for things like meat, breads, all that sort of stuff, so I don't have to keep stopping every few days. I can keep going for a couple of weeks at a time. So that would normally go there, and then I'll pull the stuff from the freezer and put it into the fridge. So in terms of build quality, there's a few scratches on it. Normally store a table down the side here, and the table gets dirty and scratches down the side. Sand got, you know, in between there as well at Fraser Island because it's gotten everywhere in the car, but that's just how it goes. And unfortunately there was a little bit of scratches that happened on the outside of that, but probably no more or less than you would expect in any other fridge or freezer. Around the outside here, like I said, that bezel, those plastics, they've held up very well. You can see the front's magnetic. I put a couple of the little fridge magnets that I had from my trip, chucked them on there. I will say this though, that it is a little bit annoying getting into this fridge. That is something that I kind of struggle with. With my normal Mike Coolman, it's just one latch, and you also grab the handle at the same time. When you pull it up, you can get things in and out of the fridge and freezer. It's just super easy. But with this, it has like a latch that hooks onto the inside of this metal piece on the top. So you have to not only pull that, but you also have to pull it from the side. I feel like that they could have put that latch maybe on the side here and maybe integrated it into the handle, as opposed to making that to disengage the latch so the door doesn't fly open, and then to pull it from the side. It's a bit annoying. I've even had mates try and get in and out of the fridge and they've had something in their hand and it's like they can't get in because the latch, you know, you know, you need two hands to be able to do, to be able to open up this fridge. So that is something that I just noticed. That's probably one of my biggest gripes with this fridge, is that you need to have two hands to be able to open it. It's kind of a bit annoying. In terms of power consumption, and I'll go to the interior of this in a second, some of the things I like, some of the things I dislike. But in terms of power consumption, that's something I get, a lot of people asking me. This is a fully enclosed canopy. I don't have ventilation in it yet. I'm not up to that yet. And I didn't really have any issues with it. It doesn't really get too hot in this. I painted the canopy white, so it's not too bad in here, but I definitely noticed that over the day, it does get a little bit warm in here, and this fridge does constantly cycle. I feel like that the insulation in this fridge is not that great, so I do find that it does cycle quite a bit. It does cycle pretty quietly though. I will say that it doesn't, when the compressor kicks on, I don't really notice it up in my rooftop tent. I have had some fridges in the past where I've been sleeping in the car, or I've been sleeping on top of the car, and the compressor kicks on and I can hear it going all night, and that's really annoying. But I didn't notice that with this. So that is something that I will say, that the compressor in this must be pretty decent, but I just think that other things in the fridge kind of let it down a little bit. We'll move into the inside now. In terms of installation, that I've had no issues. A lot of people are like, oh, put straps around it, keep it down. The 4 screws in there, and it just went into the MDF that's in this top drawer part, and it was more than enough. None of these screws have slipped. None of the screws have wiggled their way out. Use a factory brackets, and it's been fine. So I haven't had any issues with that at all. Some people are like, oh, make custom brackets for it and stuff. Didn't need any of that. You might need to for yours, but for mine, it works perfectly fine. So moving on to the interior of the fridge, and it has the nice little Adventure Kings sign on the inside there. But on the inside, I do like the fact that you can move stuff around, so you can just pinch the inside of these trays and you can pull them out. You can move them wherever you like, and they're all functioning really well. So I've been happy with that. There's heaps of like customization that you can do with these as well, with different levels of the shelves. I've currently got the little drip tray here. I've currently got that out just drying off because I use the fridge on and off for different things throughout the week. Say for example, going to golf or whatever, I'll chuck the fridge on and put some cold drinks in the fridge, makes things nice and easy, or just during the week, or whatever it is that I got going on, I want to keep something cold, absolutely just chuck the fridge on. So yeah, I mean, one of the gripes that I do have about this fridge though is that it does freeze a lot around this area here. So obviously that's going to be like the condenser or compressor or whatever it is, and it freezes up there the second you turn this thing on. So I'm not sure if it's because it goes from warm to cold and it creates some condensation. I don't know what it is, but it just freezes straight away. And there's frost all on there. And it's quite a significant amount as well, which is really annoying because when you turn the fridge off or it gets a little bit warmer throughout the day, obviously it can start to drip and it can drip all over your food, which again gets a bit annoying. So there is a little drip tray down the bottom there that just sits there, and that does the job of collecting all that all that water and stuff that melts, but just a bit annoying. It's just one of those things where it's like, I think they could have probably engineered that out of it, but it is what it is. I normally run it on 3, but I feel like 3 is actually too cold. Like 3 degrees shouldn't be enough to freeze it. On my cheaper fridge that I have, the Brass Monkey, I noticed that as well, that when I ran it on 3, it would always freeze over. But my Coolman, if I run it on 3, I might get a very light frost, but not frozen, to the point where there's, frozen droplets and stuff on there. So I feel like that maybe this runs a bit cold. Maybe running it on 4 might be better. I have run it on 4 and I did get less condensation, but again, I just, with food, you just don't want to trust it. So I always try running a little bit colder on that 3 degrees. On the inside here, it's held up really well. Like I said, this thing copped an absolute flogging. So if you are using this off-road and doing big kilometers off-road, lots of corrugations and that, then this fridge has held up really well. It does have some markings on there just from where, drinks and stuff have been, or tomato sauce and that was there, and it kind of got some dirt and stuff underneath it and kind of scratched up the floor of this a little bit. But overall, for the amount of work that this has done, it's still very impressive. And I had this thing loaded up constantly for 6 weeks. So it's turned out pretty good. I was pretty happy with how much I paid for it as well, given what I've gotten in return. The seals are also very good as well. I was very impressed with that too. I feel like that it's still, even though the compressor kicked on a lot, and I know it's using extra energy and extra battery, I do feel like that it did keep the cool air in. I don't think that cheap seals was part of the problem. I think it's just the fact that there's just not a huge amount of insulation in this fridge. So summer will be interesting. Although I have used this across, some of the hotter parts of the year, I do think that this will be a pretty interesting test in the season to come, and I will be running it, going into the summer that we have coming up. Probably one of the main issues and the main concerns that I have about this fridge is that it's got this temperature control setting dial thing on here where you can access the power and then also control the temperature. It's coming out of its socket thing, so it's kind of lifting up. I don't know what it is about cheap fridges, but it just seems to be that all cheap fridges and freezers, the dials or the displays all like to lift off. It's just like their favorite thing to do. So I had that on the Brass Monkey that the display was trying to lift off. Might be just cheap glue or cheap silicone, but at some point in the future, I will probably just chuck a little bit of extra silicone in there and just stick it back down again. The little light in here was very handy. It's kind of got a little 4 LED little display there, or 4 LED little module there, whatever you want to call it. And it's pretty useful. It lights up most of the fridge. The only thing that is kind of annoying with it is that if you do have the the tray and the tray thing on the top here, and you have something say like butter or something there, it will block the light for the rest of the fridge. So that's kind of annoying too. But anyway. Just kind of got to be a little bit clever with how you load it up. But if you've got lights in your canopy anyway, it's not a big deal. But I know that not everyone has that. And if you're just chucking this in the back of your car, it might be a bit difficult to see if you've got something blocking that. So just be mindful of that, or just put your trays a little bit lower. I used the trays in a number of ways. So obviously there's a tray that I had going here. So I had kind of 3 levels, and using the floor level was really cool. That was created a huge amount of room. I was able to put lots of drinks, obviously lots of meat and stuff kind of put down the bottom, and then I'll put all my veggies and stuff up the top, and then things like butter and that I had even higher again. So heaps of room in this thing. If you're going away for 3 or 4 days, this is plenty of room in the 60 litre. So I can't imagine what the 85 and 110 litre one would be like. I think that would be pretty cool. But at that point, you're probably going to be using the freezer in that a little bit more anyway. If you're going away for longer than 3 or 4 days, you're going to be freezing your meat, doing that sort of stuff. But overall, that's pretty much all I have to say about this fridge. I am pretty happy with it. I'm not gonna lie, for the money. That little latch works really well. I know a lot of people have concerns about the latch wanting to fly open when they're going off-roading. I had no issues with that at all. I had, the Landcruiser does not have great suspension, still on stock suspension. So, the back's moving pretty aggressively through all the stuff that I did. And I had no issues with it. The door didn't fly off. It didn't, come off its mounting little hinges there. They're not bent, they're not broken. This thing has definitely held up really well over the last 7 months. And my goal was to just get, enough use out of this fridge for the big trip that I did. And if that's all it lasted for, I was going to be happy with it. But it's still going, it's still kicking, and it's still going pretty hard. So, and like I said, I just run this day to day. I use this for, 3 or 4 day camping trips. It's more than enough. I'm pretty happy with it. I don't need to use my big Mike Coolman fridge. It's big, it's heavy. I just don't need that extra space. So if I'm just doing stuff week to week, day to day sort of stuff, or if I'm going on a weekend camping trip, maybe a long weekend camping trip, this is plenty for me. So I hope that answers some of you guys' questions. I know they don't make this fridge anymore, but if you find this, at a discounted rate, or you find it on Facebook Marketplace or something like that, I definitely recommend picking one up. They're pretty good value. In terms of the 85 and 110 litre models, unfortunately, I can't fit it in here to test it out. But if it's anything like this, I'd say for the money, it's pretty good. I did find the 85 litre one that's got the freezer compartment in it. That would be really awesome as well to get. But I did see that for under $500. So I'll put up on the screen the deal that I found anyway today, which is the day before this video goes live. So if you want to check those out, you can, of course, but I get no money from it. It's just purely me just trying to share some information that you don't need to buy the most expensive gear. And sometimes some of the cheap gear is actually, is better. So I actually have no issues with this fridge. I'm going to keep running this fridge, and I'll let you know if anything changes, or if I do anything to it. I know that you can do little mods on it here and there with putting little fans and stuff in there to try to keep the air moving over that, compressor sort of section or condenser section, whatever it is. So I might end up doing that, but we'll see. I've been happy with how it's worked so far. you know, like I said, I used it on my big trip, so I'm pretty happy with that. If you have any questions, put them down in the comment section. And I do have one more video of my big trip, so a finale of my big trip from, you know, Sydney back up to Cairns. So I'm looking forward to sharing that with you guys. It does take me a little while to edit those videos, so I know it's been a couple of weeks in between uploads and things have been a little bit slow on the channel, but I do appreciate you guys sticking around and getting enthused about the places that I'm going. I really do appreciate your comments. It keeps me going. So thanks again for that. And guys, apart from that, I'll see you down in the comment section and I'll see you again in our next video. Take care.